Hello, it's good to be here. So today I'm going to tell you about the Burda skirt that I sewed. It's number 104 and it's from June 2022. I've never sewn with seersucker before, and when I saw this as a project I thought it was a good idea to try a new fabric. The thing is, it took me a few weekends to make because I think I actually bit off a little bit more than I could chew in terms of how technically difficult this project was. And I thought if I battled with this, perhaps other people also found the instructions a little bit difficult. When I say difficult, for the most part the skirt wasn't difficult, it's the placket and the way it goes together. The description in the Burdastyle magazine I didn't find to be very clear. So what I did is I cut all the pieces out, I assembled as much as I could, and then I put them together in different orientations. Eventually I landed upon one which I thought was the most logical. What I thought I'd do is I'd actually show you what I did with the placket. So this is what the placket looks like. I haven't actually put a button or a snap over here. I find tying it is actually fine. So what I did, if you look a little bit closer, is I actually sewed it so that these are sewn inside this part of the skirt. The thing that was so difficult, it wasn't clear from the way that the instructions worked how you were supposed to actually put the thing together. And I realized it must be that this underlap is so that you don't actually see through where the buttons join up. Now I did my loops this way, but I do think that if the loops had been the other way, it may have been a little bit more attractive. If I make this again, I think I might actually change the direction of the loops. But aside from that, it's lovely fabric. It actually doesn't crease as easily as you would think. I bought this fabric on Minerva. I will include a link at the bottom. I do have an affiliate with them. I'll be releasing information on who I'm affiliated with, and you can see exactly how the whole thing works. At some point soon, I'm going to be releasing a website to go with my blog. So I'll keep you posted. If you keep an eye on my Facebook account on Sew and everything else, I will show you when I launch it, and I'm hoping to include all sorts of information, things that you can buy on a budget, things that you can do, and also if you like to download patterns, PDF patterns, or you're one of those people who likes to go to the charity shop and see what they have over there, you might find that the instructions could be in another language, or perhaps the instructions are just not clear. And sometimes it's nice to actually have a look at another source to see how something might go together. So that I will let you know when I release that. Back to the skirt. I followed the instructions exactly in the magazine, and I found this skirt personally to be just a little bit on the big side for me, and I think what I need to do is make a couple more of the patterns from their magazine and just see if taking it in a little or making it a smaller size is perhaps a little bit better. I'm wondering if perhaps the ease in the Burda magazine maybe is a bit more than I'm normally used to. So the part I struggled on with this pattern was point number 7. It says to fold the underlap piece in half lengthwise, right side facing in, stitch across ends, trim allowances, trim corners at an angle, turn half belt, press edges, baste open lengthwise, edges right side together with lengthwise edge of left band so that open edges lie on seam allowance. I found this actually quite difficult to follow. If they'd broken it down into steps and actually included an image, I think it would have been a little bit easier. I think what they were trying to say is you sew the underlap first as a separate piece, you close the ends and then you turn it to face right side out, and then you have to fold it into the other portion together with the loops. So if you look here, this piece was sewn first, and then it was put into this piece, which is made into halves. You've got the outside portion and you've got the inside portion. I will actually include pictures in the inset over here. And the idea is you pin it all together and then you sew, then you have to sew over the top I'm talking about the seam on the inside over here, and then obviously this gets pulled out. What I did to make things a little bit easier is I actually sewed the loops with a basting stitch onto the underlap, and then I joined it all in together, and I sewed it just inside of where the finished seam would be. And as you can see, I didn't actually have to rip them out because you can't see them. One benefit I will say about the seersucker fabric is it's easier to get everything straight because everything's in parallel lines. The other thing that was difficult to follow is how the ties fit. After a lot of umming and ahhing, I actually finally figured it out. The idea is that you actually sew it in to this seam here. As you can see, it's actually tucked in over here. I only worked this out and it made logical sense because the finished height of this part is the same as the finished height of this part. Then to finish it all off, I folded the hem back in. As you can see, I've caught the stitches on the inside and on the outside. Sorry, my stitch in the ditch is not perfect, but I think I can illustrate the point. See how close it gets to the edges? And I think the idea being that if I was to iron this just slightly over, that would virtually disappear into the stitch in the ditch. In fact, there are some areas where it does disappear into the stitch in the ditch over here. I'm still a beginner and I don't claim to be perfect. My seams and things are not perfect, but I do try to be neat, and I think finishing off the inside with the serger really does help. It makes a big difference, as you can see. There's no frayed bits sticking out, and if the skirt does blow in the wind, nobody's going to see anything untidy. I like this dress, although it didn't turn out quite as, I like this skirt. It didn't turn out quite as formal as I thought. As you know, whenever you look at something in the magazine, it always looks a lot more formal than you expect it to. But to be fair, I can't find the picture now. So here's the picture in the magazine. As you can see, it actually looks quite formal. Mine didn't look like this. I think partly because I'm not shaped like a model, and partly because maybe my sewing skills are not as good as whoever sewed for the magazine, but I have something that's wearable, comfortable, and it's nice for summer weather. It's perhaps not quite so smart for the office for during the week, but I think it'll be fine for dress down Friday. Why don't you join me on Facebook and see? Why don't you join me on Facebook, share anything that you've made, ask me about tips and tricks. If it's something that I haven't sewn, I'll have a look at it. If it's something that I want to sew, I'll sew it and I'll share my review with you. So be sure to find me there. You can also follow me on Instagram. I will definitely let you know of any new posts, and when my new website is finished. It's taking a little longer than I expected because I've got some research to do. What I'm doing is finding a whole lot of information and hoping to build up enough information that when I launch it, it's worthwhile visiting. And over a period of time, I'm hoping to add more information. Let me know if you have anything that you'd specifically like to see. It's a big project. I'm hoping to build it all myself, and as I said, I'll let you know when it's all ready. Thank you for watching. Happy sewing. See you next time, and don't forget to share it with us. Bye.